Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Moku. We're back with more Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. This is the second part of the second day of the trial, and it's been another 2 weeks since the last video. I can never be consistent. I'm sorry. I will try to make more videos more frequently in the future, but right now it's just a very, very busy time of year. So, without further ado, we're just going to go straight into the intro. Again, it's been 2 weeks. I'm going to try to remember what happened the previous episode. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Emma didn't come back. All right, Emma left. Was she our assistant? I tell you, I kind of forgot everything. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The only thing I did remember is that we were pressuring Officer Marshall, the officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. How can I forget this man? Witness, please state your name and occupation. Okay, but bro, that better not be vodka or rum. Whatever. What do cowboys drink the most? Why can I not think of... Is it rum? It must be rum. No, that's pirates. What do cowboys drink? Well, let me know in the comments. I kind of forgot. Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man, same as you, wandering the trails of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersection when needed. Yes, we get it. That was kind of mean. Oh, I know. You're a patrolman. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. But it wasn't Edgeworth, it was Marshall who said that. Was it? I'd better not be Edgeworth. I'm gonna track it back, and if it's... It had to be Marshall. If Edgeworth said that, I'm gonna be very surprised. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? A desperado soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. How do I forget the judge's voice? Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English. Even if it wasn't English, I don't think you would understand, Judge. He's that special. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. They say I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. Yeah, no, that was... English? I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowboy like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprints activated locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprints activated locks? What kind of a newfangled doohickeys are those? He's not been very helpful. He's not that good with machines, or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. I'm mixing both the judge and Marshall's voice. It's kind of weird. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. Orchard? Whatever. How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still. Even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who entered the recordings. You entered them? Videos of nothing aren't that useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape. If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Each time I erased a tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life. This guy has a flair for the dramatic, but it isn't going to do him any good. So in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room. They say I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Well, you're doing a really bad job. But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I say, partner? I told you that ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. No desperado I know lets rules gets in the way. No desperados I know join the police force. So Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. There was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner. Can't say I do. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks. How does this guy avoid being fired? Like I said, like the police needs to be readjusted or get their employee evaluation like strict because this is bad. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. You used to be a detective, so you used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course. Back in the day, my locker was a goldmine of evidence. And yet, you didn't know about the fingerprints locking mechanism? Sorry, partner. I ain't good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works. That's quite, incredible. The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Now that he mentioned it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place? I can't remember the judge's voice midway. If I remember right, I was at a street side saloon at the time it went down. What were you doing at a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Not even Angel's steak lunches can beat that part of Svangel's sepia pasta. Do you mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles? Not all desperados eat tacos, partners. That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson. Sorry, I'm so... I was eating spaghetti. I was eating spaghetti. I'm just imagining a real trial in real life, and someone goes like, I was eating spaghetti. That's my excuse. That's strange. This is usually where Edgeworth says. Did you not want to race this year? I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. Out of ammo, Officer Marshall? That's right, partner. Or as you called it, evidence. If you plan to pin me to this crime, then you better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west into the sunset. One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I best keep my cool. Before I use it though, I better up the ante. Okay, now this is where I had to look back at the evidence for a bit, so I might actually just skip that part, and you'll come and see it later on. Unless I do have to oh, I have to check this. Yes, never mind. It's in number SL9, close. Perpetrator, Joe Dark. Crime, serial murder, sentence, death. Edward Jones, Jason Knight, Ed F. Kirby, Rachel Moss, Jeb Bates, Neil Marsh. Okay. Maybe this is gonna be bad when I see the word name Marshall and the victims list. The others, not too much. I don't really care. Head Prosecutor Miles Edgeworth. Witnesses Lana Sky, Emma Scott. Investigation Task Force Executive Investigator Damon Gant and Lana Sky. Head Investigator Bruce Goodman. Investigator Jake Marshall, Angel Star. Okay, well, I just exited out my game for a sec. So, most important thing here is Head Investigator Bruce Goodman investigators Jake Marshall and Giselle. I don't know if they have anything for being the head investigator. Executive investigators was Lana Sky and Demon Gant. Demon Gant also being the not the CEO, the head of the, not the detective, the head of police, I believe. And then Neil Marshall. The fact that Lana Sky and Emma Sky were witnesses is bad, because that might have a huge impact into this case. But now we've seen this, I do not want to watch that security video again. Alright. My job was to keep an eye on where we are on that barn orchard. They say I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. Okay, the first security system being the badge ID with the ID card record. And the second one being the evidence locker, which I don't know why I'm expecting that closely like that. If I remember right, I was at a street-side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. Well, obviously, I'm not out of ammo. I do have my trump card, but he says to not use it now. This is still something I'm wondering about. I'm not too sure. Could this be... Do we have yeah, we do have a murder weapon. It was the knife. No. It is this knife. Edgeworth's knife. Oh my god, there's so much evidence to look at. Ugh. Oh, is it this one? Yeah, it was the fingerprints. So I don't know why I didn't think of the fingerprints. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crib. I pay my respects. That is, make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene? The blood was wiped away. However, a luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the blood-stained fingerprints? Very well. You may begin your testimony about your fingerprints. Found at the scene of the crime. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the blood-stained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprints was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprints are completely unrelated. Oh, didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See? I had nothing to do with it. I'm sorry, I have to stop here for a sec. The fact that I see the witness with an apostrophe S, so it's like 3 S's in a row, kind of triggers me a bit. The witness explanation appears valid, although there is room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy's hiding something, I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. Yeah, during his testimony I kind of zoned out, so I'm just gonna reread it again. I can't let him squirm out this one. I've got to find something decisive to tie Officer Marshall to this crime. Okay, so now I gotta find something that, well, I'm gonna press this, as I usually do. That's because you. How did you put it? pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. Well, now I know exactly what the issue is. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently, his fingerprints data was never removed from that locker programming. He must have been using a fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing it. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the bloodstained handprint. So then, what about the bloody handprint? Wasn't mine. It's no mystery. Please explain. My locker is covered with my fingerprints. It just so happened. Okay. That's it. I mean, I get it was a continuation of the next phrase, but still. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. The chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? Unrelated? They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast while the other's a type of murder. He's right. Although seemingly alike, they're totally different. I don't see what homonyms have to do with this. How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a blood stain at the scene, though to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer, wearing gloves, happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprints. That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood and the desert is just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. The security tape. So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. Well, now I have an idea. What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. I don't know exactly where it is. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Treat carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making a mistake. Now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us this incriminating blah 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 blah. I know. Fast forward. I was talking about that on the last episode, so I know. Oh, hi, Mr. Marshall. We know it. I know it's you. Oh, hi, Meekins. You're looking lovely as always. Oh, yeah, and you're just getting knocked out. All right, so now he was crawling down the floor, and then stop. Do you see it? Do you see it well? Alright. Oh, foot! Nope, that's not what I meant to press. How do I press E again? Bring our attention back to the security camera. Is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. That locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witness, I believe. Oh. That was the judge. Whatever. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. So how's your day? How's the wife, the kids, the night? How's school? Work? What kind of hobbies do you have? Okay, we're back. Oh! The white cloth. It's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then, it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Order, order. It would seem that's you. Hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened a locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just plain dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I call your bluff. You say open that locker? Now prove it. The easiest piece of information you will ever have in your entire life. You might just not understand that much. Fingerprint sensor? We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprints locks. He was talking about Mr. Marshall. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? Oh, love that comeback. Wow, you chewing tobacco? That's that. Oh no, I thought that was tobacco. It looks like what did you have a heart attack? Okay, so now we figure out that it's Officer Marshall who was in that camera. Order, order, order. Witness, explain yourself. If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Ole! Please answer the question. What is he now, a bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can? Have a look at these floor plans. There is no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet, Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then, where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right, the only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Well, isn't he the killer? Or... Wait, but... Wait. Victim killer, right? Is that what it is? Am I dumb? Because Marshall should be here. I'm thinking it's gotta be the K. Officer Marshall was standing right here. So Officer Meekins didn't notice him standing there. That's almost as credible as Meekins' WAP story. Oh, god damn it. There? But that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Oh, the victim was Detective Goodman, and I was stepping too much. I was thinking Goodman being the killer. I don't know why, because Meekins was the one who got hit. Correct. Unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in this video is Officer Marshall. It was you, dressed up like Detective Goodman. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'll know for sure. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, it would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman, or you could just made a makeup story like that was you 20 years ago and you changed a lot, and you love cowboy movies. Simple. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? You've got quite an imagination, partner. We've got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it. You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as a victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complain. You said that already. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt? Also, his beard is beautiful, alright? I love that beard. Look at you shaving like with your hunting knife like an absolute degenerate. That Officer Marshall dressed up as a victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're one who couldn't take the dessert heat. This can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? And it doesn't make sense. So because it's circumstantial evidence, now he's free? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside of the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was open in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later as it has been. Which means he then originally planned to open his locker. According to the defense argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is taken out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is a key to all of our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so the video is my only shot. Very well. Let's take yet another look at the security tape. After committing a crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why I'm gonna be honest, I may have said it before in like the previous video. I mean, that's clearly the white cloth, right? Is that what it is? Is it me saying that he has the vest? I mean, we say he's dressed up as him, so no, that couldn't be it. Right here. It has to be because it's blood. You can't go outside with blood. Everyone's gonna notice what happened. For some reason, you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman and enter the evidence room, though I don't know to what end. Yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins bargained on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pull a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Starting to realize you're in big trouble now, huh, Officer Marshall? Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now, would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it. All right. It seems the time has come. This is the most important thing. Okay, he's gonna lie in his confession? I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole Detective ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you. There's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. This is the part where on the previous episode, I said, because if we look closely at this document right here, died within an hour and a half of 4 p.m. That doesn't mean that he died at 5:15. This is very, very important. Because my guess from the previous episode was that he died before 5:15. But people thought it was 5:15 because of Angel Star witnessing Lana Sky attacking Goodman. Anyways, I'm gonna believe it's this. No, it's not? Maybe I should press before I do that, huh? That would be a freaking smart idea, you stupid freaking imbecile. Alright, I'm just gonna... When you say it, you mean... Do you even have to ask, partner? The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transfer that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only that case lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's why Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like the Goodman was carrying out the evidence transfer, I'll be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. And the detective ID card? I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filling out the lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But he could because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. That's true. I forgot about that. There's no way he snuck that glove since he couldn't open the lock. So Goodman... Goodman died. Okay, new theory. Probably actually the best theory so far. Goodman died there by someone else than Officer Marshall. I'm gonna guess Angel Star. And the reason is because Angel Star and Officer Marshall were the investigators. Oh no, Angel Star is the killer? I mean, it can't be Damon Gent. Could it? There's no way he would risk his career for that. Angel Star. He killed Goodman while he was looking through the evidence locker because, if I remember... Nope! I thought Bruce Goodman came in before 514. Is Angel Star 777? And she came in with Bruce Goodman, so good. Oh, I don't know. I'll figure it out. Anyway, so yes, Angel Star killed Bruce Goodman at 4 o'clock, around that time. Put the gloves there while she still had the locker. No, because then why would she just take the feint herself? Because she would be arrested. So she would take the rubber glove, leave it in the locker, and make it look like it's closed. Possibly. So this is my theory. You pull a knife on Officer Meekins and try to drive him off? Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a one-in-a-million type of person, mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his race this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me, so I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way, with me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. I think it's badass. So you knock Officer Meekins out and... You mean this one as he shaves? Love it. So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat and your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is, on that day... But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What, are you blind? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker. Actually, no I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. That was the missing piece! Angel Salt Turkey. What? Mr. Edgeworth? Where is that evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing the detective ID, injuring a police officer? This is no small offense. That is the first time I hear this music. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. I remembered the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murders, didn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will ever talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. I had a feeling we wind up here sooner or later. Okay, that's one word. Huh? Something he doesn't know that doesn't make sense about the 2 year ago case. Well, obviously, this is a line that we need to take off. It's fucking fodder. Is that it? Is it his father? Or brother? Why am I assuming it's his father? Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been stopping too much cactus juice, partner. Sipping too much cactus juice. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. And a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Neil Marshall? Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago. He received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor? You must be talking about the Cane of Prosecutor Awards. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right. He was killed. And the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gent, the then deputy chief of police. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least, according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? There's more to my brother's death than what the record says. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day of the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with its resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place on the police department that day. The things that happened by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's got to be more than just that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was a real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Scott. But wait, a verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me the boys got the draw on you, partner. All of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Sky. That is not true. What about that pool of blood? And the testimony of one Miss Angel Star is completely incontestable. Incontestable. Thank you. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. Objection? No, objection! I rest my case. Slowly realizing what's going on. Seems the trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time. It's proving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera tape really was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant. Objection. From none other than Emma Sky. I know this game now. It's just so easy. Your Honor, wait! Emma? The defense has an objection. A scientific objection. Right? What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? Oh, in a sense. Please, Your Honor. All I'm asking is a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose end. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. So nice. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings. Now that she mentioned it, the name of both Sky's sisters were in that file. But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprints had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing, the other handprint. You mean the trace of blood found in Detective Gumshoe's locker? But no fingerprints were found on it, right? No, but I figured if I examine it scientifically, I'll be sure to find a clue. So, I went over there and looked at it again. So did you find something? No. Huh? Sorry. I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Is that all? Please don't be mad, I'm just a high school student. And I'm just an attorney. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clues we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you. Me? Oh boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can be more of use. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be. Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If ever I need to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something missing? Something I'm missing? This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there? Yes, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. I'm going to save here because I'll be honest with you guys. I don't know. Well, I have kind of an idea, but I don't think it's that. I don't think it's the badger. With all this evidence here, there's got to be something I can use. The question is, which item can prove something is missing on the floor plans? Is the badger? The jar? Could it be the jar? Or is it the badger? I'm gonna guess it's the... No! Could it be the badger? I'm so confused. Or is that... It's gotta be two things. It's gotta be the badger or the... jar. But I'm gonna go with the badger first. What about that piece of plywood? The blue badger, mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The blue badger is not here. So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well, what? Oh, Edgeworth got it. That's right. So long as the blue badger is dancing here, it would have been impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker. What? I'm gonna be very honest with you guys. I did not think of it that way. Because for me, in the video, the blue badger was way closer than that. So that means, just exactly what does that mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me, I didn't put it there. Oh, you're here now. Mr. Wright, thinking it through scientifically. Emma. On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the blue badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that must mean this blood mark was left there before the blue badger was brought in? Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched blatherlash in my courtroom. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice. But how? One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being caught by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room. That's right, the blood mark on the locker proves this. Very well, then tell us, when did this first incident occur as Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place? There's only one piece of evidence that can show that. Now then, will the defense please present this evidence? What shows when the first place took place? And kaboom. That was the one that my trump card. This is the proof. It's quite simple, you see. If it's so simple, then don't get it wrong. Huh? What? Is that it? Oh gosh, I gotta... Oh, that was my last one, huh? If was an acceptable excuse, we wouldn't need police. When was it? Don't we have a chart listed a bunch? Oh my goodness! If the crime took place inside the criminal's if the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required. An ID card. Oh, the ID card record. Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50. This is gonna be problematic for Mr. Edgeworth. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Miles Edgeworth, just what have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminol test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room. Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. Those numbers. I'm not gonna say all 7. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murder. That's what I was thinking. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 77777777777. I know I said more than 7, but whatever. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is that. That's 1 7 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least, at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID number 7 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. But that's ridiculous. Just how? I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slender to yourself. Slender, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question. Yes? No, not to you. To her. The defendant standing over there. Your own little executive. Lana? Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course we looked up her ID number. And it's not 7. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. The SL9 incident? Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? This is our, well, technically our third witness with Emma, basically. Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, we felt the powerlessness of the law. I thought for a second were they a couple? Was that a thing that all of you know and I just realized that now? At least, I did. Lana, I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the one being suppressed by the law. Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't. I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana, even if It involved forging evidence. Oh, you are so getting at least demoted. See, that's what I'm talking about. No. No! Order. Yeah, this is gonna go in the war. Lance remark caused such a stir that chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of that trial would have had to wait until the following day. Oh my goodness, you can't do that to me! She definitely did it. Okay, I had an idea. I've had a few theories as I went along, but I am in the right step. I definitely did found what was it? What was my theory? That yes, the evidence was stolen beforehand, so Mr. Marshall never had the evidence to begin with. I'm just. It must be Angel's. No, because she's not an executive. It can't. Can it be Damon Gent? What about the chief detective? If it was a chief detective, at this point we would have met him, right? Like we would, unless this is what the investigation day 3 is gonna do. I thought it was gonna be Angel Star. If it is not Angel Star, then it's gonna be Damon Gent. It's gonna be one of those two, or the chief of detectives. Still unknown. Because my original plan was that Angel Star and Officer Marshall was doing it together. But I could tell by Officer Marshall's reactions at the end that he didn't really know about the glove. I mean, did he know about the glove? He must have known. I mean, he is an idiot. He doesn't know machines, so he might have not noticed that he couldn't open up. That's the problem with this right now, is that we have to deal with an idiot who thinks he's a cowboy. Yep, that one's a stumper, but I guess we're gonna have to find out the next investigation to clarify some last questions in my head. But that one was very fun. That one, I didn't have to think too much on this one. It was pretty simple and direct. Oh no, I just realized. By making forging evidence, Lana just put himself in a more... I mean, I knew that, but I just realized now she has a motive to kill Detective Goodman. Ah! Okay, so with that being said, if you like the series, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I always appreciate to see how many of you are liking the series, how many of you are still watching. Comment down below your theories, or you know what, comment down below how was your day, like I asked you earlier. And what was it again? What do cowboy not eat? Drink. What do cowboys drink? I'm gonna have to look it up because I'm an idiot. Because the only two I remember right now is vodka and rum. I have no idea. Whiskey. It's whiskey. Right? Why am I playing this game? It just makes me look dumb. And subscribe to see more videos in the future. It sees in the description box. With that being said, I hope you guys have a great day and take care.